they cancel tax to councils so that councils can run services. They don't pay their council tax and have to run the councils themselves. This is a recipe for do-it-yourself government. It's not right. So council. I would also say to you that this proposal would massively advantage the west of the county, not only because we're furthest from Norwich, but there's long been a perceptual issue, in fact a sort of discrimination from County Hall towards the west. There is a terminology which we don't recognise. People saying you're in the west, County Hall, we don't say in the west that we're in the west, we're just where we are. People even describe us as Wild West. I don't see us being wild. I think the only answer is to reject this proposal today, right? Say we need to have councils, we do have one. The two-tier system is right for us, and long may it last. Thank you.
Thank you. She has the routine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Proposal. And I think we'll accept that there are other proposals from other councils. Well, you'd expect that, wouldn't you? And Norfolk is no different to other areas in the rest of the country. I don't think there's anywhere that's going through this process actually got an agreed proposal from any county to what's going to happen in the future. And let's also bear in mind that the outcome of this is a government decision. Whatever we may think of the government, they've got to make this decision. And so surely it's incumbent upon us to make sure they have as many views.
The voters will make the decision, mate.
To put forward so they can make that decision. And in the business case, you're not going to get everything in there. That's impossible in a document of that nature. There will be the issues that have got to come up from that raised already to do with implementation. And again, that's not going to happen overnight. There's a couple of years would happen once a decision is made, if a decision is made in a reasonable time. And let's also not forget, government's got a pretty massive job in this.
Well, he sneezed there.
Evaluating and assessing and consulting on the various proposals. So, especially the financial aspect. So good luck in that respect. So I think the question is really, where do we go from here? Let's let a single unitary not get put forward. I don't think that's what we really want to do, stop a proposal going forward, certainly not as far as I'm concerned. And as I said,
we do if it's not working.
And bids. We've heard all the rhetoric about that earlier on. But this is a proposal from the County Council that's a valid response from this council to government's requirement for local government reorganisation. So that's all we're voting on, putting a proposal forward. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Roper.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Whether this proposal goes forward today to government really depends on whether it stacks up. Whether you read this report and believe that it stacks up and is worthy of submission. Now, speaking for myself, I voted for a 3-year district. I think that is a model which is worthy of submission. I actually have a lot of admiration for the model which has been put forward by South Norfolk, by Councillor Elmer and his team there. I would want the government to be looking closely at those two models and seeing which is best. Does a single unitary stack up? No, I don't think it does. I think the intentions are very good from the County Council. They want to build the simplest, sleekest, most efficient model they can, rather like a car. But when you look under the bonnet of that vehicle, actually you see one hell of a mess. And it is the governance structures which are the weakest point.
Hang on. I'm trying to get the captions further up. I'm also just noticed Lucy Shires and Saul Penfold. Where's the captions gone?
Of this proposal and why it does not stack up. And I'll refer you to page 204 of the council papers. And I've said this at select committee, so it should surprise no one. It talks about a single unitary, and our own consultants say that to be viable, so that's a very high bar, this model is dependent on the creation of exceptionally strong, well-resourced and genuinely empowered neighbourhood-led structures. Now, do we really think that a model which is always talking about 20 at minimum NACs, it doesn't describe where they're going to report to, it doesn't describe their accountability, it doesn't describe how they're going to be resourced or what powers they're going to be. Do we really think that this is a commitment to the type of exceptionally strong model which is the bare minimum that we have to deliver for this unitary authority to be viable? And that's the word viable, because if the commitment isn't there, if it falls anything below that exceptionally strong and well-resourced bar that has been set by our own consultants, we are really selling Norfolk residents down the river, because we will be proposing a council that will not work for them. And that is why I do not think this proposal is even worthy of submission and putting before the Minister. And I accept the changes which have been made after Select Committee. I welcome the fact that it's now identified the non-delivery of the NACs is a risk, and it's in A15 of the new papers, but we really do not go far enough in mitigating that risk and showing our commitment to delivery. So I'm afraid I cannot support it.
Good for you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Long.
Because I actually don't think I do either.
Thank you, Chairman. I thought I was further down the list, but here we are. We have heard a lot of rhetoric from a lot of both sides in this argument and discussion. And one of the points made, you know, you can't sort of vote here one way and vote somewhere else the other. Well, I absolutely agreed that the district proposal needs to go forward, because ultimately, and this is the thing we've all got to remember, none of us in this room are deciding this. No one in this room will have a vote. No one in Norfolk will have a vote. We didn't ask for this. It wasn't in the government's manifesto. They said they had in their manifesto around devolution, but LGR has just bolted onto it as a fait accompli. Now, I believe that the two-tier system works perfectly well, and what it needs is a two-tier system with a fairer funding formula so that the rural areas get what's right for the rural areas. And, you know, what did the new government do? Well, they done away with rural service delivery grant, so they can't see that it costs more to deliver a service across 2,000 square miles. When, you know, some of the unitaries that they purport to would fit easily within my county division. Now, we've got a question asked of us. The government said, put forward a solution to what, you know, to what we want to do, top-down reorganisation of local government. We can either say no, to which they'll do it to us anyway, or we can put as many submissions in as we possibly can. And I would suggest we put this one in, we put the district one in. I support the fact that South Norfolk are putting one in. I think every single parish council should put a separate one in, claiming that they want to be a unitary council as well, and they can take on all the services and do everything then, can't they? But the reality is that, of course, would tie the civil service up for months and months and months, until hopefully we can get rid of this godforsaken government that U-turns on every single thing that they put forward and try and do. Now,
It's true.
will I support the submission? Yes. It's only Sam will put a submission in. Will I bend the ear of the minister to say what he ought to do? No. Let them get on with it. If they mess up Norfolk, it'll be down to them.
Yes,
What we should have
but
is
it's us
Norfolk
that
left
suffer.
alone. We should stay as two-tier and remain working as we currently do.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Sayre.
Thank you, Chair. You're going to see a common theme by councillors from the West, barring one. This proposal is being sold as devolution. let us be honest, it's nothing of the sort. True devolution means giving power to local communities, to those who understand the challenges and opportunities of their area.
Absolutely.
What we have before us is the opposite. Power taken away from West Norfolk and centralised in Norwich. That is not devolution, it's centralisation dressed up as progress. We know how this story plays out. Look at Cornwall, Wiltshire, Dorset, places where so-called devolution has stripped away decision-making and left communities on the periphery forgotten, while resources are funneled to the centre. And we are asked to believe that West Norfolk will not share that same fate. With respect, that is a fantasy. Ask people in the market towns and rural villages of those counties if they feel closer to power since their councils were merged. They don't. The further you are away from the county town, the weaker your voice. If they struggle, how much worse will it be for West Norfolk, so often treated as an afterthought, even under the current administration?
And North
Let's
Norfolk.
be clear about money. Under a single authority, the outcome is obvious. Investment flows east, where the numbers look stronger while the West is left behind. It's not efficiency, it's structural unfairness. We see this already. Businesses are disproportionately attracted to Norfolk, often because of an unseen funding bias towards the county town. I do not trust that a successor authority based in the east will suddenly correct that bias. And yet, if West Norfolk were given a fair share of investment and support, it has the potential to thrive, generating jobs, growth and opportunities for our communities. The risk is that under a centralised model, that potential will remain untapped. Meanwhile, the democratic deficit grows. Fewer councillors overall, expected to act as a single point of contact for residents on all concerns and queries. People in our communities will be pushed further away from those elected to represent them. That is not local government, it's remote government. And let us be clear, it's not about efficiency, it's a power grab. It hollows out democracy, sidelines the periphery, and tells our residents their voice matters less than the convenience of a streamlined structure. 6 out of 7 district and borough councils have rejected this model and endorsed a 3-unitary alternative. That is not coincidence. It reflects the reality that those closest to communities understand what works. The 3-unitary model recognised that Kings Lynn is not a suburb of Norwich, but the economic heart of West Norfolk, with its own sphere of influence and distinct needs. As a Liberal Democrat, I believe decisions should be made locally by those who know and understand their communities best. That is the principle of genuine devolution. It is the principle that gives people trust in their government and their councils. And
Councillor, you're out of time. Could you sum up, please?
I will do, thank you. And it is this principle that these proposals abandon. This council must ask itself, do we want to strengthen the voice of our communities, or do we want to leave them in silence? Because this does not do anything. And that's why I cannot support it. Thank you.
Even timed on important discussions.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Mackie.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I've waited some weeks and months to support this business case. It's something which I've long supported, a unitary authority for Norfolk, because after 20 years and 4 months of service to this council, you can see the complexity and demand on services, which is completely different from what it was even 20 years ago. And the business case here sets out a compelling case for the detail and common sense approach to efficient and effective delivery of services. I just wanted to touch on that. We've had a lot of rhetoric and sweeping statements about this, that and the other this morning. A bit of smoke around governance, quite a lot of quotes from Churchill. He was very good at crossing the floor, but not on quite as regular basis as Councillor Ring. These sorts of things are, let's get down to what we're really talking about today, which is in this business case, detailed, and I must applaud the officers who have put this together, in that it's about the delivery of services. Nobody's mentioned those in any great detail, and the council already provides, as the leaders said, 85% of the core services by local authorities is delivered by Norfolk County Council. So the idea that there is no unification across Norfolk already is a false one. And the notion put forward by some people that with a stroke of a wand, these things would all be thrown up in the air and land down in a very neat and compact way is simply fantasy. The idea that services could be broken up, particularly services around adult social care and children's services, without a significant impact on our residents and on the way they're currently delivered, just doesn't stack up. It is a nightmare in waiting for residents. As the chairman of the members' engagement working group on local authorities, we have local government reform. We have looked with fascination and compelling evidence from our senior directors and our large spending departments on the clear risks to breaking up and fracturing our core statutory services for residents. And I do wonder whether members from other parties who have been listening to that are willfully ignoring the advice and risks which have been demonstrated to them in a rush to get to a 3 unitary model. Now, Councillor Watkins mentioned about the consultation we've had. No one has consulted with my residents in Thorpes and Andrew or Helsden or Old Catton and elsewhere about being assumed to Norwich. All of these things are good, but this business case is seen as some way back. And the risks being put forward. What are the what have I got there? Once universal services, that's where I read my own writing, universal services suddenly become a postcode lottery for our residents. And what was provided as a joined-up strategy on children's services and adults with complex markets, thousands of contracts, suddenly becomes a hodgepodge of endless competition across the county. Looking at how we manage bus services, how we manage gritting, how we provide specialist care. Members ignore the rhetoric and support
Good for you. Keep talking.
Council for Norfolk. Thank you.
Proposing move to the vote, Chairman.
No, I'm sorry. I think this is too important to move to the vote, and I'm not, unless there's an overwhelming vote from the council to do so, I won't move to the vote.
What was his question?
So, right, the next person is Councillor Thomas, please.
I didn't hear what he said.
And I agree, this is an important decision for us. But let's remember, we're deciding today whether or not Norfolk County Council submits an option. We've had many councillors saying they don't think that we should submit an option. Well, I'm a county councillor that's represented my community for 18 years, and I think they would think it somewhat odd if I went back to my parishes and said, well, we didn't have anything to say. The county council didn't have an opinion. We've decided not to send anything to government, and we've left it to either be 3 unitary or 2 unitary. And I take exception with Councillor Watkins yet again implying that only district councillors engage with their communities. I've engaged with my community for 29 years. 29 years to get a bypass delivered in my community. 18 of them as a councillor, but 11 of them as a community activist trying to get something done. And then I realised that perhaps the only way to get something done was to get onto the inside. So what we have now is people who, I'm astonished, understand and challenge and question social services, adult social services and children's social services, who think it's a good idea to split them up into chunks. Let's split children's services into 3. Let's split adult social services into 3. Nobody, and public health, nobody has talked about the risks that come with that. And I'm astonished that Councillor Borrett, who was the Cabinet Member for Adult Social Care before me, thinks that that's a good idea. This is about providing consistent, safe care for those who need it most. And yet here we are advocating that we throw out the county proposal for a single unitary to prevent the disaggregation of key services that people rely on, because it doesn't matter, does it? Well, all of us sitting in this council chamber will get there one day. We will need social care, and believe you me, I would not be able to sleep at night if we have to divide a department that is delivering huge numbers of care and support across the county and say that that's fine. We can find 3 Ians. Well, I hope that you do. If the government, and let's remember, none of us want to see the county councils go, none of us want to see the district councils go. Councillor Kemp mentioned that. It's not our decision. It wasn't our request. It was the Labour government that have decided to split up and disembowel Norfolk and get rid of all its current structures. It wasn't us. We didn't ask for it. But we've got to put forward the best answer possible. I just wanted to pick up on the parishes. They weren't talking about parishes taking over.
Councillor, you're out of time. Could you sum up,
I would just say it was a case of could, not should. So a parish with a precept of £1,500 clearly isn't going to be able to take on services. But some of my other communities probably would be grateful to take on some of those roles.
Councillor, you're out of time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Steve Riley, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I think the comments have been made around, well, it's just a, proposal we're putting forward, and almost as if it doesn't matter. And I picked up on Councillor Borrett's point as well about voting two different ways. Well, of course it matters. I mean, we all represent people here, and it's true that the government are going to decide at the end of the day. However, we have to put forward the best proposal that we believe may have some chance of working outside of moving away from a two-tier system. So I recently said at Broadland, I'm a two-tier man, and I always have been, always will be. It works. Finance in Broadland, I know that we work quite hard. Last year we were able to implement a counter-tax freeze because we're efficient. Other districts are efficient. However, what I do worry about in this reorganisation is that the services that we provide, which are non-statutory, a lot of services we provide are non-statutory, help hubs, which help communities, lots of things, are all going to become under pressure and possibly cut, because once you have one huge unitary with the deficits that are involved, lack of funding from central government for social services, as we know in other areas, that money will disappear. And therefore we'll have service provision reduced, and we will have council tax in all probability going up.
Crime
so I think the proposals that have been this proposition has been put forward by the government is a bad one. I don't think it serves Norfolk in the best possible way. Having said that, what's the next best possible thing we can do? This is why all the work that went into looking at this in terms of districts, and I know South Norfolk got its own proposal. 3 gives you some chance of having democratic responsibility, gives you some chance of proper administration and delivery, and not putting the onus on any question on parish councils and whether they can cope with that. I've been a parish councillor longer than I've been a district or a county councillor. I know people will simply walk away, and it's unfair, and people will be treated in different ways. Whatever way you look at this, I haven't got much time, I know. The best possible solution here for democracy, accountability, and a chance of delivery is actually via a 3 unitary system. 1 unitary system, in actual fact, will be a complete disaster, and all of the other unitaries that are coming into play, they've all predicted savings. Where are they? In actual fact, they haven't occurred. So I think the most responsible
savings isn't the answer
is a
to
3-tier, and I think it's actually would be responsible for Conservative members not to vote for a single unitary, to actually sit on their hands on that and let a 3 proposal go forward. That's what I think is in the interest of Norfolk. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. The following councillors indicated a wish to speak: Councillors Neil, Councillor Carpenter, Councillor Dixon, Councillor Dark, and Councillor Dixon in that order. I haven't seen anyone else. I propose after Councillor Dixon to go to this. Okay, I'll take Councillor Story and Councillor Bick, and then we will go to the seconder of the motion, and then the vote thereafter.
Has some?
So
I don't think Lucy Shires or
Thank you, Chair.
Penfold has.
This one unitary model has so many flaws and would rely on a non-existent volunteer sector taking on what should be done by elected representatives.
Well, they're representing
the 3-tier option is not perfect, but only the least worst.
They've not said anything, have they?
And could be difficult to provide major services such as social care. As Councillor Long said, the decision will not be persuaded by our proposals. It has already been decided by the Labour government, I'm sure, and they are only showing a democratic face to the public.
That's what I'm worried about. But then any government.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Carpenter.
Thank you, Chairman. And firstly, can I just say it's nice to see Alison Birmingham in the Council chamber today. I wish you well. Navigating the impact of changing what we have to go into 2 or 3 The effect on children's services will be catastrophic. The navigating the impact and mobilisation of the national reforms, the disruption to key transformation programmes for children, the impact of stability of the workforce at an operational leadership level, and Councillor Thomas has already raised that, there aren't enough people in the country. There aren't enough highly qualified, competent people in the country to run it. We are very lucky here in Norfolk.
Because they're all in the voluntary sector, that's
senior
why.
leadership teams in both adults and children's, and we should be grateful of that. The data and case management systems, the intervention across new structures, avoid fragmentation, complexity and development of service deliveries, a loss of coterminacy, I won't say one. Yeah, that one, with health and police, sorry. The safeguarding service, which is something we should all be aware of. The safeguarding service for the can't get my teeth in today, risks associated with cross-boundary case transfers, especially considering serious practice case reviews, because not everybody will have the same software in place. Distribution of high needs block. The market exploitation and division and fragmentation that will drive up commission services placement and workforce costs. I could go on, but I know time is very short here. But we do have a strong and stable leadership, well supported and stable workforce, recruitment and retention, professionals, robust performances and assurance systems, and child-centred practitioners.
That aren't being paid enough.
It would be gone three parts to the wind. So I will be supporting this council in their submission. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Dark.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I've listened carefully to the debate and I wasn't actually going to speak on this, but I thought on such an important debate, it's clear that I need to put out my position. And it was also after the comment that was made about Councillor Long being the only councillor in the West that held the view that he did. I just wanted to back him up and say, Brian, I'm of the same mind as yourself in this. In terms of things, I look at this from a point of view is, am I the ultimate decision maker? And at this critical moment in time, do I need to make a decision, particularly one that, as we've heard from Councillor Thomas,
all over again, isn't it?
has some real high risks for Norfolk residents around it, whatever the outcome. Now, in the West, significant work was done by the officers and councillors and the leadership there, emphasising the strengths of their bids and countering what they felt might be weaknesses. Now that will be exactly the same for Councillor Aylmer and his council, as it is in the work done by the officers that put an awful lot of time into this bid. Now, in my opinion, the central government that actually said, we are going to do this to Norfolk, we are going to have local government reform, come up with your options, and if you can come up with one, great. If you can't, we'll look at your options and decide.
For you.
And I take on board Councillor Proctor's point.
It's going to happen anyway.
We aren't alone in this, with councils that are doing this. I feel that at this moment in time, if I'd have abstained or voted against West Norfolk's bid going in, I would have prematurely stopped that bid being looked at by the decision makers. And in that debate and in the recommendations for West Norfolk, it said their bid wasn't finished. It wasn't totally refined. It wasn't the finished article. They were going to carry on pushing it, promoting it and making it better. And that is my expectation of, if this goes forward, what this council's bid would do. But to stop one going to the decision maker, we are saying that those risks have been considered, the strengths and weaknesses have been considered, and we have decided that that is not going to go forward. And for me, whether it puts me at odds with my community or whether it puts me at odds with other councillors, I'd prefer all of the options to go in and all the options to be decided upon as good as they can be at the appropriate time. Because that way, I feel that we are serving our residents best. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Dixon, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Of all that I've heard this morning, I have to say there are two speakers that probably cover most of the ground that I would expect to put to you this morning. First being Councillor Mackie and the second being Councillor Thomas. I won't repeat what they've said because I think they've said it clear enough. What does concern me, though, is across this council chamber, there are those who have put forward a very different account of the proposals that are in consideration at the moment. And I'm sure some of that might be that they don't understand what the councils do, and in particular this council do. Some of it, I think,
Sometimes wonder about
be a
our
very
district
witting
council.
understanding of what we do, but for some reason they are stuck in a model and a mould that is no longer fit for purpose. There is ample evidence of that throughout, not just this county, but elsewhere. So what can I add to what we've considered this morning? Well, I do have particular concerns about the process. Certainly, a government that gives you that task to do in a matter of a few months, I really have to wonder whether they are really serious about doing this in an open and a democratic way that's based on real evidence and not a whole series of suppositions. So that's my first concern about I suppose, the flaw in the system. With regard to what has happened in other places, I looked at the commissioning document for the group of 6 councils. And I'll summarise that as, quite simply, we know what we want, and your job in a circle is to provide the evidence that enables us to support that. I have to say that it lacks credibility, it is stacked high with risk, and it is stacked high with aspiration. Turning to what have we done then in the County Council? Well, as Councillor Mackie said, we've had a working group, and that working group has met several times. It's looked at what does this council do? And we've taken deep dives into the most meaningful and the most expensive and resource-intensive services this council provides across the county already. You know, 85% of that is already done. You don't have to disturb any of that. That's already in place. What we're arguing about, effectively, is 15%. And quite honestly, it doesn't make sense to me. But
15%
from those 6
is this part of the
shows great predetermination.
Could you sum up, please? You're out of time.
It's 15%.
So I'm afraid for those reasons, I'm not able to support a 3-tier model, and I am supporting a single-tier model with an understanding that there is much more work to do to put flesh on the skeleton. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Storr.
But 3-tier is putting flesh on that skeleton.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, everybody.
Right?
As usual, Chairman, across the board, there's been some very valid points put forward why or why not should we have a single unitary
Norfolk boy.
The fact is, as we all know, and I hate to preach the gospel, that we sit here as all individuals supporting all of Norfolk. And cases have been made, rightly so, I should imagine, for West Norfolk, other parts of Norfolk, and what have you. The fact is, that's all of Norfolk going forward. We are charged with finding a proposal which we feel is probably the best way for Norfolk's concerned. But when I make a decision, Chairman, I always look at 2 sides of the coin. I like to hear all of what's on the table to make my mind up. So I hope at the end of the day I've had all the information that I can be sure, in my mind, that's the right decision to make.
Absolutely.
And if the government takes this forward in the precept they're supposed to be taking it forward, 1, 2 or 3, they will have those proposals, 1, 2 and 3, put forward to them. So I'm sure and I hope that then they will look at those and hopefully choose the best points in each to come forward with the right way for Norfolk. Our officers, whether that's West Norfolk, Norfolk, or whatever it may be, have spent many hours, and so has many members, trolling through to try and get these reports together to put before us to make that decision. So in my mind of fairness to the people of Norfolk going forward, this is our one chance for Norfolk. I've always told the residents wherever I've been to have their say, put their views forward, because that's the most important, all the people in Norfolk. And to my mind, Chairman, as I've said, these proposals going forward, I hope they'll take the best out of each. That is why, when I talk to my residents, that I'm supporting this proposal, Kings and West Norfolk's proposal, and probably other councils' proposals as well, because I feel,
Community, can we
having got
change
this
residents?
information, which
I
has
like the word
spent many
resident.
hours of people's
In that
time
sense.
put to the government, and let's just hope those who make this
Community, mate.
decision will have enough sense, and that is common sense, to go forward and put what's right for Norfolk, not for them. Think of the people of Norfolk and Norfolk as a whole. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Bick.
Thank you, Chairman. I have to remind Councillor Story at the last full council meeting, Councillor Jameson said the people will decide. He had to backtrack on that. The people have no real... The whole democracy thing here is a sham, and I think we all know that. But let me address two crucial issues. The first is I don't think there are going to be many people in this chamber, officers included, who've ever conducted a large-scale integration. I can tell you two things about them. One, they never go according to plan, and two, you only get the savings that you're telling people you're going to get with large-scale redundancies, because that's what comes with integration. And you all really need to understand that. But the other much more crucial thing here is, and I do not think it's possible today for us to take a responsible decision. Look at Suffolk County Council last week. Cabinet announced they're going for a single unitary, but they don't know what their funding settlement's going to be. Do we? How can we make a responsible, informed, adult decision about which route to take when we don't know what the funding's going to be? It's ludicrous. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor. Now, as the seconder is reserved, Councillor Jim is reserved the right to speak, I'm now going to ask him to second the motion, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chair. I just mentioned to Councillor Bick that the Chief Executive has indeed undertaken a large-scale reorganisation previously. And this is really summing up what so often we've heard. We've heard a lot of people say that the most important thing is residents and that residents are the key. Well, we asked residents what they wanted from a new council, and the first thing they said was value for money. And it's worth making the point that responses to the 3 unitaries' own consultation highlighted
value for money, because we've got no NHS dentists, so that costs. We've got the expenses that you guys seem to be racking up. The whole cost of living nowadays with food and everything else. So when we are actually talking about value for money, we're talking about, for me, I'm talking about the services to stop the pen pushers like possibly you, getting expenses and diverting that money elsewhere and bringing private companies in. That's the problem. It's all about profit. Everything now is about profit in a service that is nationally held as a government, and you're selling us off for 15%, was that?
Financial sustainability as the single strongest concern.
15%.
They, residents want improved services. They want to avoid the need to split services up. And indeed, the 3 unitary bid went on to score a single unitary as the best for right-sized councils to achieve efficiencies, improve capacity, and, crucially, withstand financial shocks. And financial shocks, if any of you ever look at the newspapers broader than Norfolk, it is worth thinking that there could be some considerable financial shocks globally at the moment. I see you laugh, Councillor Bick. It'll be interesting to see when those come up. So this is what one council will deliver. It will have strong...
I don't know. Models and Minis UK. Shelley, the more tiers you have, the more duplication of expenses. Do you see it as duplications, or do you see it as people in jobs keeping the country running and putting food on the table and paying a mortgage and having a family? I mean, the duplication of expenses is giving people jobs. My problem is people like government that are using expenses tremendously, and the money's being funneled elsewhere. That's what I see on a larger scale. So the more tiers, I would have thought, the more it would probably run smoothly, right? Not strip it all away and put one unitary in there. And what, can you imagine how many digits you would have to press just phoning a telephone number for a one unitary organisation? I don't know, models and minis. I really don't know.
Strong foundations, it will be able to withstand those financial shocks, and as well as being the most cost effective.
And as I've said,
and those strong financial foundations will
going to go ahead anyway.
Councillors in the new entity
whether we decide or
to have
not.
the maximum scope to take sensible decisions, to invest in services, and the maximum scope to take decisions on the level of council tax, because, of course, there is that annoying thing for those who want 2 or 3, that one
also
is modelled to save nearly £40 million a year. 3 unitaries to cost over nearly 34 million pounds.
Excuse me, Councillor Andrew Jameson. Models and minis, I mean also that 3-tier system requires 3 sets of people to run the same services. Yeah, that's how it works. That's how trusts work across, the Norfolk and Waveney and Suffolk, Waveney, all the different trusts in health. It provides the same service, but in more than one place. So a 3-tier system for 3 sets of people. So we've got North Norfolk, West Norfolk and Norwich. I mean, if other towns and other parishes are putting in their own, it could be 15-tier system at this point. But is that what the government is wanting us to do, is to argue over this while they decide what they do anyway? That's the gist that I'm getting from it.
Pounds a year. One-off transition costs will sink 3 unitaries, 81 million, and that's why I am so concerned for the residents of West Norfolk, of which, of course, I am one. An immediate deficit of 21 million in the West Norfolk budgets will lead to significantly higher council tax if we are unfortunate enough to have that decision upon us. And so I've read
then you need to
Norfolk
get more than 15%.
I think, frankly, they've created a new literary genre, that of financial fantasy fiction, because to claim that they can magic away the demand issues in children's services or in adult social care and save considerable sums of money, more money, they're saying, than we are in fact forecasting, is an act of supreme irresponsibility. Thank you very much, Chair.
I mean, the other thing is as well, is we want to save money to be able to afford more services and more better services. That's the reason why I want to save money, is so these services can be improved. But the way these go on about saving the government, saving the money, is to save money for whom? Because all they're doing is stripping away the services even more, the more they are going out to private tender. because then that cost is going up and up and up. The stakeholders then make more money, and the services are dreadful from a staffing point of view and a user point of view.
Come to the point, offer the Leader of the Council the right to reply at the end of the debate. And you have 3 minutes, please.
Thanks,
3 minutes.
This is a decision to submit a business plan. And the decision is actually
Yeah, it's all
already
business
been
plans.
made by this
It's all
council when we looked at
business
the options
plans.
appraisal. We decided then that the single county unitary was
Not
the
about
one
the
we were going to
hierarchy of
work up.
needs anymore.
So this debate here is just a discussion on that. And we didn't have to have this debate because this is an executive decision. That's the way that the law works. So the idea is that the executive has to take note of any recommendations coming forward and then decide whether to submit the plan or not. And as has been discussed widely in this chamber, consultation, which will happen with the public, has yet to occur. We have consulted with them. We have done some sort of basic consultation with them, but we haven't done the actual official consultation.
What, the 5,000 people that you've spoken to?
In the autumn, once the government have decided whether they're going to put any of the plans that have been submitted forward. And it's at that point that we have to ensure that the maximum number of our residents have their say on what they want to see going forwards. That's where we are at the moment. The government will ultimately decide. And whatever happens, we will...
So one word means nothing.
No one's under any illusion about how difficult that's going to be. So we mustn't fall out with each other about our differences. And I have to say that officers and leaders have come together and we've tried to find some common ground, certainly on what the facts are, what our current asset bases are, what our costs are, so that we can actually put these proposals together. It's unfortunate we can't come to one conclusion, but then no other area has managed to do that. But at least with 3 options on the table, our public will get the chance to decide. And I just hope that this government will actually listen to them. And then we're going to have to move forward. So this is not about how many councillors we have or preserving fiefdoms. This is about effective, efficient, value for money services for Norfolk people and the right structure for the future. And so I would recommend to you that you say to Cabinet, please take this plan forward so we have the maximum number of options on the table.
Thank you, Councillor. We now come to the vote on the recommendation. If that could go up on the screen, please, Alex. Thank you.
Now, are we going to get a little box in the corner like we did the other day? Come on, camera editor. Are we not going to see this? Are we not privileged? Clearly not.
Is there anyone else, apart from Councillor Ward, who has not been able to vote? Could you, if you're happy to give us an indication of how you'd have voted?
So they're all now going to vote on...
Those numbers tally up, including Councillor Ward, that's 62, I think. We still seem to be one more short. Could everyone just check that their voting box has been filled in or indicate how they would have voted?
How are they going to do that? I would have thought they would have had a little button on their intercom, wouldn't you think?
Okay, so if we add Councillor Ward on, for 34, abstentions 1 and against 28. So the recommendation is carried forward. Thank you.
What recommendation?
I think it's probably the most
Just repeat yourself again.
Part of the meeting everyone's looking forward to. We'll have
1 tier?
It's 12 already. We'll have a half hour.
Chair, can we have the scrolling through of names, please?
Yeah, certainly. But we'll have a half-hour break as this once this has been scrolled through, and we'll come back at 12:40.
We should be able to get that information online. I just don't know when that will be ready online for us to see who voted, because it would be interesting to see what our local district and county councillors I say district because one of them is district and county, which is Lucy Shires. So Penfold. With district, shouldn't there be Paul should be there, Mel should be there. Don't see them very often. Somebody called Don, he should be there. Never met him. No, I have met him, just never seen him.
So we'll resume again at 12:40. Thank you very much.
12:40. Okay, so we've got half an hour break. And on that note, we are trying to sort out the Christmas fair for the Business Association for the precinct of North Walsham. And things are buzzing around at the moment. So we're thinking of, I'll just quickly go through this while they are in the background. I'll bring that down as well. I'm not quite sure what is going on there. So we are looking through, Liz, the chair, has been looking through online, looking for different, for the stall holders, especially if they are local businesses, and also entertainment. So we've got footnotes, North Walsham Play Charity, which I thought folded. If anyone knows any different, please let me know. English folk dancing, interesting. Oh yeah, music. North Walsham, do you love singing? Evidia, can't say that, sorry. Yes, that's the one. I think this was the guys that sang at the Fun Day, that choir. We are possibly going to have issues with funding all of this because our AGM is this evening. We've not sorted our charity status out to be able to go for, so this is all slow coming. So we're trying to find ways and means how we can afford it. It's all about money. So that's where we're up to. So that will be at 6:30 tonight. I'll do the same thing with live chat. I will put it in the group of the Business Association so everybody can see what, if they are interested, is going on and what is being said. You can chat in the live chat, and I will bring it up on screen so it can be acknowledged and hopefully answered if there are any questions. Meanwhile, we've got half an hour. And I have one or two things that I need to get on with this afternoon. But just to bring everything up to date, I did email the North Walsham Christmas Lights group. Finally got the email working. I don't think he has replied. Hang on. Okay, we've got a reply. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at this new reply while we're waiting. Just give me a second to do that and that. And that. Right, we have an email back from Colin Jerry, who is the chair of the North Walsham Christmas Lights. It was that little S that made all the difference. Hi Claire, thank you for your email regarding the Business Association, the link to the last meeting. I did send him that, so he was up to date. Why not? Firstly, it's great that businesses seem to be coming together, as over previous years, the Chamber of Trade, as it was called back in the day, just phased out. Yes, I do believe it did. I have heard about that. I have attached some pictures that proves that we have lights in the Market Street, St Nicholas Court and Church Street. Previously, as there seems to be rumours going around that the Christmas Lights group hasn't lit these areas before. Oh, okay. Well, Market Street, I know you have. St Nicholas Court. If I get this out and have a look at, there's a fantastic little map at the back of it. St Nicholas Court. Just bear with me a second. I can put my bloody glasses on. Okay, St Nicholas Court. I tell you what, these glasses ain't great. I can't read it properly without having more space. So what I'm going to do is we are going to just open up another another page, especially where there is a map for North Walsham. Here we go. Let me just swap you around there for a second. There we go. Okay, we have, there's only 12,829 people in North Walsham, and we have a further 3,000 houses being built. Who's going to move in them? Okay, so it was, okay, so this is the town, and then this goes down into Market Street. St Nicholas Court, right, Church Street. Bear with me. Old Bear Court. Hello, Shambles. Right, what's this road called? What is that road called? Ooh. Church Street. Okay. So, just St Nicholas Court is the precinct. Oh, thank you, Models and Minis. Thank you, Terry. Really? This is the precinct. No, it's not. Sorry. Oh God, where am I? No, that is the precinct. Cathcatali, Seat of Fog, the Tech Geek, North Walsham, Footnote Dance School, little green button. Yeah, so these. Oh, Terry. How do you get a pin on here? Do you reckon? Seat of Fog, they're in. Vape shop. Do you know what? I still need to go to the Tech Geeks. I have not spoken to them yet. Okay, so he does Church Street. So he does the lights come down here. Do they come across here? I'm not quite sure. They definitely hang down here because I've seen them. I don't remember there being any hello Hopin. Any lights there. And lights, oh, well, I'm sorry, Colin, but I do not remember. I just know it was the precinct. The Nicholas Court, St Nicholas Court. Wasn't that actually St Nicholas Court? Isn't that the old part of North Walsham that got demolished in the 60s? Right, so if we go back to his email. Okay. Here we go. There seems to be rooms going on. Right, Christmas light, haven't let these areas up before. Last Wednesday, the 17th of September. What was that? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, tranquility. There's some missing, isn't there? There is some missing. Anyway, let's get back to. Oh, hello, Teresa. Yeah, we were just looking at the map, and you're not a pin on the map on the Google thing. I don't know how we can place. That's maybe something that we need to do, is work out how we can place more pins on the Google map for North Walsham. That would be quite handy. That'd be very handy. Right, back to the email. Do we have it on screen? Yay! Right, last Wednesday, 17th September, Wendy called me whilst I was at work and told me that she had applied for a grant for Christmas lights. Yeah, she's applied for 5,000. And also that you had started a business forum and we were discussing the lights also. Wendy said that she and I needed to have a chat at some point to sort things out. I then saw a link to your YouTube video regarding finances and you commenting on different things. Yeah, because the finance is council. The discussion about that, I think, was the following night at the Development and Amenities meeting, which is also there. So, yeah. Sorry. Yesterday, Tuesday, the 24th of September, I then saw a post from the Town Council saying that they had been awarded 5k for the Christmas lights and asking people what they wanted. It's not to replace the lights that North Walsham Christmas lights are doing. It's just that they are also going to input these lights hanging on the lampposts, which is still good. I don't think that takes anything away from Colin and what he does with people. Mine is on there, but yeah, sorry, maybe I was on a different Google site, but it was a Google site. I don't know, Terry. Very odd. Anyway, oops, sorry. And yes, Wendy did show me the pitch or the post that she put up on Facebook saying, would you like these lights or would you like this chair, this light up chair thing, which no, I'd rather see lights on lampposts. So, and I think that one won as well. So we're having lights on lampposts. At no point has she asked the Christmas light committee about thoughts and ideas and haven't discussed the wires which are supposed to be going across the town centre. Now, this does need to be further discussed, and it's probably going to be another Christmas where we still haven't got it sorted out because of the lack of the communication, and because there seems to be a lot of grumble under the table for people to sit at the table to talk. So I'm just going to leave that like that for the moment. Oh my word, he's written me a good one. In 2017, the Christmas Lights and Fund Day moved away from the Town Council to enable us to apply for grant funding and enable things to be dealt with more smoothly than having to be discussed at 2 or 3 meetings before being acted on. Totally agree. I've discovered that as well. The having to discuss, but it does if we all work together. Walsham community events were formed and would be the umbrella covering both Fun Day and Lights. I've never heard of Walsham community events. We purchased a 40-foot container for storage and started running our events independently, which up till recently have worked well. Well, that's good. And they're still working well as far as I'm concerned. Okay, I think what's coming across is feelings of being stepped on toes. So if that's what they are doing with their umbrella of Fun Day and Lights, fantastic. Because that's what they do. We're not there for that. We are for the businesses to try and bring more footfall into the town. And one of the things that businesses have been crying out for is to make the town more Christmassy and more magical, which I totally understand, which is why these warm coloured lights and being compared to Holt and Elsham, you know, we're doing piss poor. So we all need to work together, and that does include the business association, and that will include the council, and that will include, well, what were they called? The Walsham community events. So now need to find out who the Walsham community events are, because I don't understand where North Walsham Christmas Lights and the community hub all sits. And it's like, have you got little subgroups? I don't know. I don't understand the running of it. Each year we would send letters out to all the businesses in the town, including the industrial estate, asking for donation to help fund the Christmas lights. Right, Colin, first things first. You have sent out, this year, you have sent out 2 businesses letters, one to Dolly's and one to Norfolk Raws. Nobody else has received these letters. So I'm guessing you only send them out to new businesses? So does the Wherry Arts and Craft, did they receive one? That's my first question. The industrial estate asking, the industrial estate, what do they do over at the industrial estate? Do they have lights? Do they, what are, the industrial estate? To help fund the Christmas lights. Right, next question. You've already got the Christmas lights. You've already got the 40-foot container where you clearly store them. My understanding is you don't pay electricity for these lights because it comes from the council, town council pocket. So the town council pay for the electricity for the lights. You hold the lights, you put the lights up, you plug the lights in. Fabulous. You arrange the grotto, the street fest, the whole coming together of it. But that is in the town and on Church Street. But we need to include the precinct, Market Street and Munsley Road, because there's businesses on Munsley Road that could probably participate on the big fun night switch on. So then that will make the town bigger, right? Okay, we had a supermarket in the precinct during the 70s. Christmas lights obviously don't go across the laundrettes. Okay, Tricia, I'll keep an eye out for your other bit too, or I should be. Sorry, Teresa. Are you meaning that the lights don't run across your part of the building? Come back to that. Got to keep an eye on the time because they will be back to. I don't know. I hope we can get to see who has done this voting. Anyway, back to the email. Our team is just a team of 10 to 12 volunteers who give their Sundays up in October and November to ensure the town has lights. Thank you. Thank you to you 10, 12 volunteers who give up your Sundays. Thank you. We've been lucky over the years that businesses have supported us more, so the industrial estate... We have been lucky over the years that businesses have supported us more, so the industrial estate than the town centre trades. Now, a lot of the town centre trades are actually pissed off about the lights, Colin. You see, this is the thing. If we could meet in the middle of, right, do the lights, what you do, absolutely no idea. The option I came up with was for the businesses to have their own window lights so they can actually contribute with their business, with their shop front windows. So it's more appealing for footfall to come through and for them to actually be a business and to make some money off of it, because it's Christmas. It's a free event that you do. Hang on, Teresa, I'll just get back to you in a minute. It's a free event that you do, but it's bringing the whole town together for that celebration to bring more people in. We can never have enough lights, Colin, you know, but some people still like the coloured lights, but some people are still crying out for the warm lights. Me personally, I would just like to see it quite magical, being a footfall sort of person, you know? Right, Teresa. You did receive a letter this year. Okay. So you're not contributing because of the light situation. Okay. Above the shop. Yeah. Okay. Very true. And I mean, they are asking for £25, aren't they? For your lights to go over your shop. Whereas for £25 with Ben over at the North Walsham Garden Centre wanting to help with giving a discount for you all. I mean, I also know and understand that some of the businesses got big windows and small windows. You know, I've had this discussion with a couple of people now of, can we help subsidise between big windows and little windows, especially if you're all going to have the same, so it can all be magical. And I mean, Coffee Smiths, they've come forward with the little icicle sort of lights, but these will be hung on the inside of the windows, you know, so it's the shop can then have a bit of pride, you know. I know that some people present at the meeting haven't received letters yet. This is because I did a first drop at all the businesses I knew were there, and I'm now doing a second one for all the newer businesses. All right, Colin. As you're aware, we hold an annual best dressed window competition, but again, we found over the years that the traders in the town centre haven't filled the form in and returned it to us. Right. Let's meet this head on. You have to apply to go in it, right? When I looked at the form, you have to fill out the form and put yourself forward. Now, I can understand a lot of businesses kind of think, oh, well, to enter it, I'm just trying to remember what's been told to me, to enter it, to have to go through that rigmarole, that surely if it's just a case of they put they do their windows the way they want to do their windows, and then on the night you walk around regardless of who has entered or not, and you choose a business with the prettiest window. And it doesn't just have to be the town centre, because my town centre, the street, because my understanding is the same shop keeps winning it. So there's no enthusiasm there, you know? So I can understand both sides of the court yet again. But you can carry on doing it that way, Colin, with the business, because the business association, with the businesses that we have in there, which we have, do we have 40? I think we have 40 businesses now. Those 40 businesses can now have the chance to do their lights, and for fun, all vote on who they think is the best window. So, you know, to up morale, to have a bit of fun, to have a bit of, hopefully no jealousy or anything like that, but just have a bit of fun and truthfully pick the best window amongst themselves. Because they've not liked how you have been choosing the shops before. That's kind of what I'm hearing. I don't think I'm dropping anyone in it, and I don't think I'm being horrid. I'm just saying how it is. This is what I've been told. Okay, Teresa from Tranquility. I have received letters in the last year. Sorry, Teresa, I have received letters I'm assuming last year, about Christmas lights. I declined as the lights don't go above the shop or above the laundrette. I have to go back work now. Thank you, Teresa. Well, thank you for your input. I receive a letter every year to make Xmas wreath for church, which is lovely. Do you know what it is? And last Christmas, I walked around the church and videoed all the wreaths that all the businesses and everything did. So yeah, I think that's in events, actually. I think that's in the events playlist. But the thing is, you need time to do the wreaths and work at the same time. I totally understand that. But thank you, Teresa. I think I've caught up with all of your bits and bobs that you've written. I can't see any new ones, so that's okay. Right, let's get back to the email, but thank you, Teresa. I note that some people at present meeting haven't received your... okay, here we are. As you're aware, we hold an annual... Oh, no, done that bit. The donation we asked for is totally voluntary, and the suggested figure is just that. Okay. Over recent years, we have improved the St Nicholas Court lights, which started as just small trees with lights to now a string which goes all the way around. We have illuminated the trees at both the bottom and top end of the churchyard. Is that the one at Hop In? Is that the one at Hop In? The churchyard? All the lamps in the festoons are now LED. New lights. Wow. Do you know? Over recent years, we've improved St Nicholas Court lights, which started as small trees with lights to now a string which goes all the way round. We have illuminated the trees at both the bottom and top ends of the churchyard. All the lamps in the festoons are now LED. I don't know what that. Absolutely no idea what that bit means. All the lamps in the festoons are now LED. New lights in St Nicholas Court last year cost £483. New LED floodlights, 280. Associated cabling and plugs and sockets, 494. We received in total 1,200 from the town traders and 1,000 grant from the community shop. The group current position is that we still plan to put lights up this year with previous years, as the planned switch on is Saturday the 29th of November. Absolutely, which is why we are trying to get the businesses to come together on that same day to celebrate with you, to hopefully bring more footfall in, but also to make it a bit more magical, because shops will be open. Because before, certain shops haven't been open because the lack of communication, which we have to underscore and move on. Okay, so with the precinct having hopefully having a little Christmas fete with stalls, it's just something to complement with what Colin and his crew is doing, because we're allowing wanting to North Walsham be big again, to be, you know, because it is. Please, if I'm prattling on, just let me know in chat. I know that we're probably now past the time for the county council to come back in, but I will finish this and then go back over. The group composition in November, as Wendy is not engaging with us, we are currently have no idea what the town council are planning, but all the road closures, TENS and MEP is being carried out by our team. Right. Well, let's say this. If you are sorting out all the road closures, the TENS and the EMP, whatever that means, I don't understand those abbreviations. What we do know is the council's got £5,000 to put these lights up on the lampposts. That's what we do know. And they are supplying trees to the precinct, I believe, again on the high street. And I'm hoping there's going to be a third one down near the Hop In. I'm sure there was one like there last year, but as you come up Marker Street, that there, it would be absolutely gorgeous to be able to see through with a and also Jordan from Norfolk Rules said about the tree placement there. So we could have 3 trees. Why not? I hope this all makes sense and elaborate on some areas you may not have been aware about. Best wishes, Colin Jerry. Thank you, Colin. I will print off this email and put it in the folder, and I will bring it along this evening for people to read. I understand that Wendy, the town clerk, is now going to be there this evening. She wasn't. But I saw her yesterday and asked her to write an email so I could print off and read this evening to the meeting. But now she is coming, but I will make sure this one is printed off and in the folder. And in the meantime, what is going on here? They've not come back.
To significantly higher council.
They're running late.
We will be contacting the schools.
Aha!
Thank you.
Thank you, Penny.
Thank you, councillors.
Can you guarantee?
Okay, we are going to be slightly behind.
And it can be found starting pages
Well, that's
298.
That is fine.
And we now.
Okay, here we are, back
the
at
cabinet report for the meetings which
the
held on
decisions
Monday, the
of
4th
devolution.
of August and Monday, the 1st of September 2025.
Will we get to see
I so
who
move,
votes?
Chairman.
Thank you, Leader. We now have 30 minutes time for questions to Cabinet members, and that can relate to anything within the remit of a Cabinet member's portfolio, and it's not limited to items which appear in Cabinet report. Items, as usual, will be taken in the prescribed portfolio order and can be to any Cabinet member. And I'll start the first round by selecting the first questioner from the Liberal Democrat group, Councillor Sayre.
Thank you, Chair. My question is for Councillor Eagle. My youth unemployment motion was referred to the Select Committee in May, yet 4 months later, it still hasn't made its way.
No, it's still there. He hasn't made a dash like he
While the
does.
motion sits in bureaucratic limbo,
Also,
young people across
town
Norfolk are
council
struggling
meetings.
to find work.
He's still there.
Can you guarantee it will be scheduled for the committee's next meeting? And if not, can you explain to Norfolk's unemployed
Actually,
young
he
people
dashes 'cause he has
why
to go
their
for
futures
Woodstock
aren't considered urgent enough to
town
prioritise?
meeting because they happen on the same nights.
First of all, I think you'll find that young people are a priority, which is why there is the Boost plan, program, which is operating in Breckland and Kings Lynn, and it's been very effective. And it's looking at those people. We are always looking and helping support young people, and I think it's very, very important in those opportunities across all ranges. Obviously, high skilled jobs and those other areas. If we haven't got young people staying in Norfolk, we have got a major problem. So let's not knock our young people and start saying that, because most of them are very, very capable people and have a huge range of abilities. And once we keep saying there's nothing there for them, then they start to leave. So let's get that clear, and let's start getting behind everyone who wants to work and stay in Norfolk of whatever ability and range, because it doesn't matter whether you're a care assistant, you are important to our care homes. We are all going to be old one day and we're going to need those. It doesn't matter you want to be a dentist, doctors, anyone, high-tech skills, we need them. But that is there. I'd have hoped you'd have raised it with the chairman of that select committee, but I will take it up on your behalf on that point. But there, again, that's what the chairmans and the vice-chairmans are there to do, their committees, and take it up. But I agree, and I will raise it for you on your behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. Next question to the Labour Group, and Councillor Smith-Clare.
Thank you, Chair. Penny, this is a question for you. I've received communication from a number of teachers and learners regarding experiences of disruptive behaviour, threats and misogyny in their classrooms. Within the worst cases, police having to attend. What additional steps should we as a council do to address these genuine concerns and support colleagues from the teaching profession and the young people that they assist?
Thank you, Councillor Smith-Clare. That's news to me. And I would suggest perhaps if you could write to me with details, then we will be contacting the schools straight away. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny.
Thank you, councillors. Now go to the Green Group, if any questions.
Thank you. This question is for Councillor Plant. Given that the Council has powers under the provision 132.2 of the Highways Act to remove unauthorised affixes, and that the recent unauthorised affixes that have been going up en masse in Norfolk's highways, especially given the distress they have caused across Norfolk, and given that their placement appears targeted to intimidate certain groups that have been specifically selected, chosen based on protected characteristics, legally protected under the 2010 Equalities Acts, especially with the consideration that to do nothing, or even being seen or perceived as doing nothing, may be seen by the electorate as the county council taking a side, being complicit, or even endorsing such discriminatory and unlawful targeting. Does Councillor Plant believe highways have been appropriately exercising their power to remove the recent unauthorised affixes? And does the county council have any plans to enforce provision 132.1 of the Highways Act? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, removals are done under our powers under the Section 132.2 Act, which states the Highway Authority may remove any picture, letter, sign or other mark which has, without either the consent of the authority or an authorisation given by or under an enactment, being painted or otherwise inscribed or affixed upon the surface of the highway or upon any tree, structure or works or on the highway. And it's important to note the word may. So this is not mandatory. However, in Norfolk for many years we've had an
costs money to remove them.
This continues, and we will remove things from the highway that shouldn't be there under normal maintenance procedures, with the safe element there as well for the workers, and we'll make sure that we do that. What we will not do is react immediately to acts that are going on. You mentioned a lot of words in there which I don't recognise that should be attached to our national flag. That is our national flag. England, Great Britain, that's what I am, English and Great British. And I don't agree with the terms that are being used of xenophobic and racist either. So I will instruct for them to be removed during normal maintenance, and that's what will happen in Norfolk. But I do not recognise how you've just described our national flag. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors.
It was distant talk, wasn't it?
Which section you're making your point of order? Sorry, that's not a point of order.
In that I've been misconstrued. That I never said a correction. Thank you. Point of order of a correction. I never said anything about racism. I said it was targeted people with protected characteristics.
Right. Thank you. I think that point has been made. Thank you, and clarified.
That's true. She didn't.
We now move to the independent group. Thank you. Nothing from the independent group, the independent progressive group.
Thank you, Chair. My question is to Councillor Plant. In the Cabinet report of the 1st of September, we see that 7.06 million were reduced from the capital budget from the removal of the Kings Lynn Southgate roundabout study project. Now, this project was never going to work. Indeed, the project managers themselves said it would reduce congestion, it would actually increase it, which was quite unacceptable. So what sensible options is the Cabinet going to introduce? For example, around Park and Ride on the Nauru's business estate, and a parkway station on Nauru's Way. As part of the new CLATS proposals, are we going to see something concrete and something really...
In either supported living or independent living.
Sorry, I've just jumped, haven't I? I'm so sorry.
Nothing from the independent group, the independent progressive group.
Thank you, Chair. My question is to Councillor Plant. In the Cabinet report of the 1st of September, we see that 7.06 million were reduced from the capital budget from the removal of the Kings Lynn Southgate roundabout study project. Now, this project was never going to work. Indeed, the project managers themselves said it would reduce congestion, it would actually increase it, which was quite unacceptable. So what sensible options is the Cabinet going to introduce?
We've also had flags.
For example, around Park and Ride on the Nauru's business estate.
Also had flags
and a parkway station on Nauru's Way. As part of the new CLATS proposals, are we going to see something concrete and something really sensible to address the issue of congestion and increase the level of green transport?
I don't have a problem with flags. It just depends in what way they are being used. Yes. And recently they have been used for hate, and that's what I don't like saying. Our British flag being used for is hate.
We now move on to the Reform UK group, please. No questions to that. And Conservative Group, Councillor Mackie, I think.
Yes, thank you very much, Chairman. This is a question to the Member for Adult Social Services. I wonder if she could update us, please, on how this Council's investment in housing with care and supportive living is improving the lives and outcomes for our residents, as well as easing the pressures on her budget. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Mackie. I'm very pleased to acknowledge the huge amount of work that's being done around independent living and supported living by this council. Much has been made during the local government reorganisation debate about debt. And I would say probably all of us that had a mortgage had a debt that we owed to the mortgage company or the bank, whoever we borrowed the money from. Norfolk County Council, I would say, has made prudent capital investment in providing bespoke facilities for those many of our residents, people over 55 who've got care and support needs.
Selling off buildings and land as well.
They've also made capital investment to those who supported living for working age adults who also have care and support needs. We've invested 29 million in independent living, and we've invested 18 million in supported living. I've been very pleased to don my hard hat and steel toe cap boots on many occasions across the county, doing groundbreaking ceremonies and in fact...
Do you know what? Complete off topic. I can't remember what it was, but I worked out how many sort of average cars in North Walsham and how much tax would be paid on the amount of cars of car owners in North Walsham on a year, and I worked it out to be £18 million.
Topping out ceremony most recently in Hunstanton, where I think Councillor Jameson and I were hugely impressed with not only the pace of delivery of that scheme, but the quality. But this isn't just about delivering a scheme that provides support. It's
I said
also
cars, didn't I?
providing savings
It was
to the
council
county
tax.
council.
No, it wasn't.
So once all the targeted units in independent living are
Video
delivered,
of it. I
it will
did a
deliver
video
an
of it in the
annual saving of
compilations.
£10 million a year,
Just
and it'll be a £6
menopause
million
morning.
saving
It was
in supported
afternoon.
living.
1 o'clock.
So I say to those people who say that the council shouldn't invest, just look at what's being delivered. This is bespoke, purpose-built, supported living for people to remain independent and to live in a community that enables them to have help and support when they need it, but to have
We
their
have
own
called Little
control,
Plumstead Hospital.
and still have their own independence. I don't think we can put a price on that. And I certainly am
Pulled it
hugely
apart.
grateful to the team that are delivering these projects at pace. We were somewhat held up by nutrient neutrality, but we now have a huge number of schemes that are already open, but we've also got a large number that were on site. And I just quote, Harleston, Hunstanton, Loddon, Stalham, South Wootton, Norwich, Norwich East, Galston, Attleborough, Norwich again, Swaffham, Kings Lynn, Loddon again, Harleston, Norwich, North Walsham, Galston, Norwich and Norwich East.
North
Those are the
Walsham.
number of projects that
I
are
don't
being
think she
delivered in
pronounced it
either
then.
supported living or independent living. And I commend this council's prudent borrowing in order to deliver those schemes. They're either in the pipeline. I see Councillor Ring is shaking his head. They're either in the pipeline, under construction, or in the pre-planning phase.
Thank you, councillors. That takes us to the second round and back to the Lib Dems.
Shaking his head. It's all a bit bitchy, isn't it?
The Lib Dem group would like to, as soon as possible, move on to consideration of item 15, the motions, so we have
I
no
wonder if
further
Lucy's
questions.
still there. Is Lucy still there? She's still around the corner
Thank you.
there?
I will go through the other groups. The Labour group, to win Councillor Murphy.
Be interesting to see how many are there, actually.
The Green group.
Thank you, Chair. Question for Councillor Plant. Residents of Thorpe Hamlet are sure to welcome the upcoming 20-mile-an-hour reduction speed, which will help reduce rat running and also putting people at risk in that area on their walks to and from the schools. The last time we spoke in this chamber was regarding getting a feasibility plan together for the Quebec Road area. We were discussing this in the last year, and we've also had pavement reconstruction going on, and so the road has actually been closed. I have asked you in this chamber that we expedite that feasibility study, but as of yet I've had no contact or no information about that happening. I did write to officers just ahead of the road being closed and suggested that it was important to perform some of that feasibility study while the road was closed to see what the impacts was of that road closure, and I received no response. Can the Cabinet member give me some assurance that the feasibility study will go ahead, and will he also find out why it wasn't looked at while the road was being closed? Thank you. Residents are concerned, children are at risk, and I wish we could get this moved forward. Thank you.
Roadworks again.
Thank you. I think a letter was sent to you, an email was sent to you.
What happens when you do it all at once?
At one point, that the roadworks that were going on did not have the funding in place to do the works that you were expecting, which were bollards, probably wooden bollards along the pavement, or a way of stopping traffic getting on the pavement, whether it be bollards, whatever it is. But the fact of the matter is that it wasn't in that financial package for the works that are being done on the road currently. I will find out what's being done about the safety works, and I'll get back to you.
Thank you, councillors. It takes us to the independent group. Do you have any questions? No. Takes the Independent Progressive Group.
Independent Progressive Group. God, that sounds...
Thank you, Chair. Sorry. Yeah, my question to Councillor Carpenter. The SEND survey that was sent out to families and professionals in January, that closed in February, the results of that survey haven't been published yet, and it does say on the website that they'll be published in June, and there is still nothing that has come out to families and to those concerned, and I wondered if you could update on that. Thank you.
Yes, I can, because I have my director behind me.
Okay.
Yes, it will be published in the coming weeks. That's all I can say.
She has her director behind her. Her director.
Reform UK Group.
Sorry, just one.
Director.
Sorry, just one.
Sorry, Councillor Webb, could you turn your microphone off, please? Thank you.
This may be a rather straightforward matter, but a parent of a disabled son, for some reason, gets 2 invoices, same date, same amount every month. When they asked what they described as the finance department why that was, they were told that's just the way it's done. 2 questions really: why is that happening? And 2, is it not possible to email these things?
The question is for me. Well, obviously, I don't discuss cases in full council, but I think it would be better if you could write to me.
You can discuss a case without identifying.
On information, confidential information, and I will look into that for you.
Because how else are you meant to learn
Thank you,
for the next case?
Councillor Proctor.
For you all to realise what is going on
Thanks,
without
Chairman.
identifying. That's
For
all,
the
all it
Cabinet for
needs.
Corporate Services Innovation. Could you
Another
remind the council
conversation
how many
closed down.
homes Repton Homes have built since its inception?
Thank you, and I'd love to. So, over in Attleborough for Albert Housing,
Oh, my word.
a completely affordable scheme
Enthusiasm.
of 48. Over on our
Houses.
2 largest sites, Hopton, which has got 200 units overall, and Acorn 137. We've
Units.
not only met the local affordable housing target, but
Interesting
significantly
language again.
So,
Houses, my dear.
specifics.
Houses.
Acorn, we were asked to do 33%, we delivered 50. And at Hopton, the requirement was 10%, and we delivered 30. So I think the Chamber will agree with me. The facts on the ground show our commitment to affordable housing at Repton.
What about disabled housing?
Takes us to the 3rd round. Liberal Democrat Group seems forward. Labour Group. No questions. The Green Group. No questions. The Independent Group. No questions. The Independent Progressive Group. Councillor Kemp.
Yes, my question is for Councillor Blant. And how on Monday there was a very serious accident at the East Coast Business Park in West Lynn. A cyclist came out of West Lynn cycle path and fortunately cycled into the pathway of traffic, and the bund adjacent obscures views of the road and the foliage wasn't cut back, and I've written to Highways about it and I still haven't had a response, and it's feared that there could have been a fatality involved as well, but certainly a very serious injury. So please could the Cabinet member do something about this, please?
Yes, I have no details about that, so I will ask officers to respond to you.
Thank you. The Conservative Group and Councillor Bainbridge.
Thank you, Chairman. I've got a question, please, for the Cabinet Member for Corporate Services and Innovation, Councillor James. Following our recent motion on telegraph poles, could you provide a current update of the situation, please?
Thank you, Councillor Bainbridge. I'd really love to, actually, because as luck would have it,
And again.
yesterday the team met up with the gang from Connections. There may have
It's
been
like
some
the
press,
like the
on either
sarcasm is
side.
just dripping off
I
her.
do love being able to be quoted as saying something was
Is it
bonkers in the
sarcasm?
national press, which is always good fun, but let's stick to the positivity. So, Connections have reported that the testing of our LoRaWAN system has given very, very good results, and they're really positive about using it. Tick, well done. they're also really pleased that we can offer them, our infrastructure, and we're working also in partnership with the team over in Great Yarmouth Borough Council, things like buildings and other assets, and they're really excited about using those. So, from what was sadly a little bit negative, but thank you all in this chamber for supporting that unanimously. We're having constructive dialogue, and for want of a better phrase, we're getting stuff done that makes a difference for our residents and not loads of polls going up. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. Takes us to the
I don't know
fourth
what that was
round.
about.
Liberal Democrat Group, no one. Labour, no one. Green Group, no one. And Conservative Group, no one. Councillor Mackey.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairman. I wonder if I could ask Councillor Plant a question regarding bus usage in Norfolk. I'd certainly like to thank him for the work the team have done in Thorpe St Andrew, adding on additional weekend and evening services.
Is my
just to
local
update, Council on
county
the
councillors
increase in
not going to
usage
say a
of new
thing?
electric buses coming
Have they
to the
got
county.
no questions whatsoever about anything?
Yes, thank you, Councillor. Well, as you know, through the BSIP scheme, bus usage across Norfolk has gone up.
Is Lucy Shires even still there? I've not seen
In the
her.
last year, which is even more than what's gone up in Manchester usage. And if you consider that we're a huge county, that does tend to make it across a wider area than any other urban area. And it's really good news. We've just had a confirmation of £20 million that are going to be brought into the area to put 20 electric buses in Great Yarmouth and change the depot there over to electric charging.
So 18 million for that children's service and 20 million for
so
these
there
buses.
is a continued push to try and get some low emission buses into the area. We're working hard to try and get more, but it's really good that the bus companies are also putting in £7 million of their own money to make sure that this kind of scheme can continue. So
Actually, the two counties, Paul
we have extended routes, we have extended times
Saul
to
Penfold,
routes,
Lucy
and
Shires.
extended into the evenings as well on several routes. And I believe that that's been sent out to all members this week as well, as to the change in
The
routes.
only two we
and
got,
improvements
and I
in
said
routes.
nothing.
So if members want to look into Mr Wiggins' emails that he sent out, you should be able to see some new timetables in there. But we're going from strength to strength with the buses at the moment. They are being more frequent, and they are also more reliant as well, because a lot of the works that we've put in on putting bus lanes in have made them more reliant. So when you actually get on a bus at one end, you know you're going to get to work or to the doctors or to the hospital at the other end on time and not be stuck in traffic jams. So it is
Because of the roadworks.
and we're trying to put it in several more towns as well. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, councillors. That takes us to the end of the 4 rounds of questions. So,
The crowd went wild.
recommendations from committees, and there are no
This is what I should be doing there, shouldn't it?
committees to this meeting. It's agenda item 12, select committee reports. First is the Adult Social Care and Public Health Select Committee. That's the report to the meeting held on the 8th of September 2025. Councillor Gurney.
Thank you. I'd like to present a report and it's resolved. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The next one is the Children, Families and Community Select Committee. Report from the meeting held on Friday the 12th of September 2025. Councillor Long.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. You'll see on page 306, the committee dealt with a report on the Norfolk Youth Justice Plan 25-26 and also special education needs and disabilities and alternative provision improvement. One of the requests from the committee was that we send a joint letter between myself and the cabinet member to request government that they release funding as promised for a new special school in Dannemarket and Great Yarmouth. In addition to that, we have got a lot coming forward on our next round of meetings, and I would just inform Council that we have got supporting young adults not in education, employment and training as on our agenda on the 14th of November. Also, school placement sufficiency for schools in Norfolk, schools and real estate preparing for the impact of local government reorganisation. So a fairly hefty agenda coming forward, I think possibly answering one of the questions that was posed earlier.
Thank you, Councillor. Next one is Health Overview Select Committee, report for the meetings held on Thursday the 24th of July and Thursday the 4th of September 2025. Councillor Jones.
Thank you. Thank you. I commend this to the Council.
Thank you, Councillor. Next one's Infrastructure and Development Select Committee, report from the meeting held on Wednesday the 10th of September 2025. Councillor Thompson, please.
Thank you, Chair. Just move to report. Move to the report. Sorry.
Thank you, Councillor. Finally, Strategic and Corporate Select Committee, report from the meeting held on Wednesday the 17th of September 2025. Councillor Roper.
Thank you, Chair. Move the report.
Thank you very much for those reports. Takes into agenda item 13, reports from other committees. First one is the Audit and Governance Committee, report from the meeting held on Thursday the 24th of July 2025. Councillor Mackie.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Very happy to move the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Next is Health and Wellbeing Board, report from the meeting held on Wednesday the 3rd of September 2025. Councillor Wymark.
Thank you, Chairman. I move the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Takes us to agenda item 14, reports about the business of joint arrangements and external organisations. First is the Norfolk Joint Museums Committee, report from the meeting held on Friday the 25th of July 2025. Councillor Ward.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm pleased to move the report.
Thank you. Norfolk Records Committee, report from the meeting held on Friday the 25th of July 2025. Councillor Chinnery of Hosborough.
Move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor.
What?
Takes us to agenda item 15, which is notice of motion, and 5 motions have been submitted to this meeting. Just remind councillors that proposers have 5 minutes each to speak to the motion, and seconders and all other motions will have 3 minutes each. Councillor Morphew.
Thank you, Chair. Can I, at this stage, propose the extension of the meeting to long enough to hear motion 3? I understand motion 2 is likely to be withdrawn, so I'm not quite sure how long that would be appropriate, but I think we have had discussions about how we might run that. So whatever needs to be moved, I move it.
Right, yeah, we did discuss this earlier, and I've just a quick consultation. If you have a seconder, I would propose to that. What you're actually proposing is that it runs to the end of that, which is 30. So, I believe 30 minutes, or the end of that motion, whichever is the shorter. Is that what you're proposing?
Yes, indeed. And I think we've the understanding is that we will have one speaker per group plus a right reply.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll get to that. Seconded by Councillor Smith Clare. All those in favour of that?
Smith Clare. That is so funny.
That's carried. Thank you very much. So, I invite the proposer, the first motion to propose a motion, and that's Councillor James.
Motion to promote them.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm not as
motion of a
as one
motion.
people. So, as a fellow at the Institute of Certified Bookkeepers, and having worked with many small and medium-sized businesses over the last 24 years, I know that they are crucial for economic growth and societal well-being. They are the backbone of our economy, driving innovation, creating jobs, and contributing significantly to our gross domestic product.
Back in a bit.
SMEs also play a
I'll fill
vital
the
role in
teacup up.
supporting local communities and fostering
Be
a
right
more
back.
diverse and competitive marketplace. Small businesses are often deeply rooted in their local communities, supporting local suppliers and contributing to the social fabric of that area. By increasing the VAT threshold, businesses would be willing to grow as they would have fewer administrative hoops to jump through. These businesses generally have fewer employees, so that time spent on VAT compliance takes up a large proportion of staff time, with many smaller businesses opting to do it themselves, which can be a massive task for a small business owner with, frankly, limited knowledge of VAT, when, to be honest, let's face it, they should be focusing on the core element of their business, not the admin. When most businesses register for VAT, they're faced with a really profound choice. Either increase their prices by up to 20% or lose up to 20% of their existing prices as VAT. Those choices are: be less competitive and likely see a drop in sales, or eat into the profits of the business and ultimately reduce the amount of money available to reinvest and expand. Neither of those options advocate for small business growth. Not having to register for VAT at such a low turnover means that small businesses providing goods and services to us, the consumers, can charge less overall, which should ultimately encourage the public to spend more, thus growing the economy. Research previously undertaken for HMRC themselves found that 20% of unregistered businesses trading close to that VAT threshold had taken action to remain below the VAT threshold. Of those businesses, almost half said that they'd closed their business down for part of the year just to avoid having to register for VAT, and 1 in 5 said that they'd turned down work. However, as the motion notes, the VAT threshold is not the only barrier to economic growth. The Norfolk Chamber of Commerce have found that 66% of Norfolk businesses identify tax and national insurance contributions as their top barrier to growth, with a third having already cut investment following that national insurance rise. Higher national insurance and business rates are restraining growth, disincentivising investment and contributing to reduced confidence, with 74% of firms intending to raise prices again. They're also stopping recruiting, which is not good for our economy or our residents. The bottom line is, you cannot tax your way to growth. Our Norfolk businesses, whether they are decorators in Docking or plumbers in Potter Heigham, need their county council to speak up for them, and I urge you all to support the motion before you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. And I understand Councillor Bensley is seconding. Do you wish to speak now or reserve your right to speak later?
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to hold my right and reserve at the end, please, Chair. Thank you.
Right, thank you for that. So far, Councillor Price and Councillor Eagle have indicated they wish to speak. Councillor Price first, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'm glad this council is discussing the very real pressures on Norfolk's businesses, especially our small and medium-sized firms.
Absolutely.
Sector, which are the backbone of our local economy.
Absolutely.
The call to raise the VAT threshold will certainly give many businesses some breathing space, and I'm pleased to support that direction. But let's not lose sight of the bigger truth here. VAT itself is a regressive tax. It doesn't care whether you're a cleaner on minimum wage or a millionaire. You pay the same rate on the same purchase. That means that working people in Norfolk end up spending a far higher share of their income on VAT than the wealthiest households. In practice, this locks in inequality.
True.
For small businesses, the
True.
current VAT threshold is not just a nuisance, it's a real brake on growth. Time and again, we hear of family firms deliberately holding back expansion for fear of tripping over the threshold, as the Cabinet member pointed out. That is not just unfair on them, it holds back the whole UK economy. So yes, let's support this motion, but let's also be honest that tinkering with VAT alone won't solve the problem. Governments of all stripes have relied on VAT hikes because it's easy to collect, but it shifts the burden onto those least able to afford it. Meanwhile, large corporations, some making record profits, continue to avoid paying their fair share. If we want thriving small businesses, good jobs, and strong public services, we need a tax system that is genuinely fair. That means taxing wealth properly, taxing large corporations properly, and easing the pressure on working people and local businesses. This motion is a step in the right direction, but the bigger picture is clear. We must build a tax system that asks those with the most to contribute the most, so Norfolk and the rest of the country can flourish. Thank you.
Agree. Do you agree?
Eagle.
I agree.
Thank you, Chair. I shan't cover some of the points that was made because they've already been raised by Councillor James and Councillor Price. Just put some facts on. This year, going around speaking to businesses, I found a rural, medium-sized retail area has now got to find an extra
Come on, camera.
catch up for the national insurance charges and the others. I spoke to a small newsagent in a market town, and because of the way the thresholds have been changed, they have got to pay an extra £200 a month. And it's not those big businesses, it's hitting those small businesses. They're actually employing people on a part-time, and I'm not categorising as single parents, other people, even people who
£200 a month.
part-time jobs, and that's where it's had the impact. And I think it's damaging. It is damaging to our small businesses and getting on. And the rest has already been said, so I'll stop now to allow us to move to the next one.
Come on.
Councillor Mason.
Come on, Norfolk councillors, speak up. Speak up
Since
for...
the October 2024 budget, we've seen the reality of government tax decisions playing out here in Norfolk. These are not abstract measures from Whitehall. They're costing us jobs, businesses and opportunities. On Tuesday, there was an architect that went into voluntary liquidation, a firm that had survived COVID but couldn't survive the wave of tax increases introduced last autumn. 6 employers are now redundant, and their closures scrapped the redevelopment of the final piece of the Anglia Square regeneration, a project that would have brought new homes and shops. They're not alone. A family bakery in Kings Lynn has closed its tea room after 7 years of trading, citing rising costs. A Norwich restaurant losing vital business rate relief, cut from 75% to 40%, reached out to me. When I spoke to the City Council, they would have
This
loved
is
to,
why
but this is of course
Northampton
government
Business
policy.
Association is so
For
important
businesses
right
already
now.
struggling with high energy and supplier bills, these extra burdens can be the breaking point, and they cannot simply pass those costs
And
on
North
to
Walsham
customers,
anyway.
because if they do,
Think
there
of
will
all the
be
other
no
towns and...
customers. So on top of that, increases in employer national insurance are squeezing firms further. For businesses with slim margins, this is not just another bill, it's a tax on jobs. We've seen the report from the Norfolk Chambers of Commerce. 2/3 of local firms now see tax as a major concern. 1 in 3 has cut back on investment, and nearly 3/4 expect to raise prices in the months ahead. This is a vicious cycle: higher taxes, driving higher prices, fueling inflation, and choking off growth. We need urgent reform. That means raising the VAT threshold to £100,000 to give small firms the breathing space to grow. It means reversing the rise in employer national insurance so we reward job creation instead of penalising it. And it means restoring meaningful business rate relief so our high streets, cafes and shops, the lifeblood of Norfolk's communities, can survive.
Absolutely.
The closures we've seen are not isolated. They are warning signs. And if we don't act, we'll see more businesses shut, more people out of work, and more regeneration schemes abandoned. Norfolk cannot afford that. We must support our businesses. We need them to succeed.
I mean, we're pretty good with tourism in Norfolk as well, you know. It's...
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I support this, and I think it's really key to see how far more damaging the national insurance, employers' national insurance.
Yeah, look at him in his pinstripe suit.
I think than the government even realised.
Bill
The key issue
Borrett.
here was the lowering of the threshold at which people pay it, and this hit small businesses, but crucially lower paid jobs for people who are in already precarious employment. It made their roles disproportionately more expensive than better paid staff. So the decision here taxed lower paid people more than better paid people and made their jobs unviable. And that is why we have seen a huge decrease in the number of people employed in hospitality and an increase in youth unemployment. It's so retrograde, and the idea that anybody who runs a business is obviously hugely wealthy is not borne out by the facts. The people who run businesses are hard-working people, and the sort of people who get off their bottom every day and make a life for themselves and their families. And, you know, if they can employ people, that's fantastic, and they're good for the communities in which they live. And all these small businesses tend to be rooted in the places where the person who owns and runs them lives. So they are spread across the whole of the country. It's also led to inflation in the things that, again, poorer people need. So there's been huge food inflation as a result of this, because farming businesses on the whole are small businesses, and producing food is something that's done on very thin margins. So when you dump a whole load of extra tax into businesses already operating on very thin margins, who on the whole are employing less well people to provide staples, what you do is you bump a whole load of inflation into the system. And that's one of the reasons. Food inflation, the cost of food going up, is one of the main drivers. So the impact of these decisions has absolutely targeted those poorer paid people who live on the whole in rural areas, which is an area which I represent. And it is so appalling that I'm just not I'm surprised there hasn't been more of an outcry on it. You know, I absolutely support this. The VAT threshold, again, is a disincentive to growth. So if you've got a business that's growing, that you want it to take on more people, employ more people, actually you cap it. So I'd much prefer much more gentle tapering, but anything that increases the opportunities for small businesses to thrive, I would support. And I think that is why this motion is really important. And I hope it gets cross-party support, because I think it is really important. This is something that's happening in our towns and villages right now.
You beat me to it. I was just about to say you're out of time, so well done. I've not seen any indication from anyone else. Councillor Dark.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just one extra point that I'd make. Although we are talking here around businesses closing and going to the wall, there are also those businesses that we are all aware of here that are actually taking decisions that, as the tourist trade or footfall starts reducing towards the autumn, are looking at their young employees
is regressive taxation, and it's regressive taxation in a way that anyone that is approaching the threshold is going to, not want to go over the threshold and therefore reduce the work that they do. And that is really bad. A business that could really flourish, could take on more people and grow, but they deliberately keep below the threshold, which is an arbitrary figure. And actually, if this motion calls for an increase in the VAT threshold to £100,000, well, you don't need to be very sizable in terms of company, not many employees before £100,000 turnover is not really a very large figure. And to put no too fine a point on it, those local businesses that employ local people across Norfolk, they shop locally, they spend locally, they buy their equipment generally locally from local suppliers, and they're restricted in what they do because of the VAT threshold. If they are successful and want to buy a pickup truck to go out about in their business, they get further taxes on that, because pickup trucks are now seen as terribly polluting. But eventually,
there's more of them.
Pull, heavy trailers. We'll wait to see. And don't even get me started on plastic bags. When the plastic bag tax was introduced, it was a 5p tax. And, the last time I bought a plastic bag in a supermarket, it was about 50p. Everything is being taxed more, and absolutely the VAT threshold is not helping small business. And it's definitely not helping Norfolk small business. Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor. I don't see anyone else wishing to speak, so that takes us to Councillor Bensley to second the motion, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Before I just have my comments, can I just wish, and I think I speak on behalf of the council here, the women's rugby team for this Saturday in the final. Hopefully they win against Canada. I think we were
Absolutely.
successful last time when we wished the English ladies football team and they brought it home. So, yeah, I think everybody in the chamber will be wishing the same.
The England
Right, sorry.
football team.
Norfolk's businesses are the heartbeat of our communities, from the high streets to our farms to our vital tourism sector. Their survival is critical to local jobs, the future prosperity.
See, they
But
keep saying the
equally,
same thing.
the evidence is clear that higher costs and rising insolvencies are squeezing growth, confidence and investment. This motion will send a strong message to the government that practical, targeted relief on VAT thresholds, national insurance contributions and business rates would give our businesses the breathing space they need to invest, grow,
Absolutely.
save jobs, and hopefully invest in green economy and the circular economy as well, because the environment needs protecting in
Sparkles,
that
behave
part as
yourself.
well. But by supporting this motion, we're standing firmly with Norfolk's businesses and their communities as a whole at the time they need it most. So hopefully we will all support this motion, and thank Councillor Jameson for bringing it forward. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor James, do you wish to exercise your right of reply? Right, thank you very much. So we'll now go to the vote on that motion, please.
I've just been looking up their votes, and the only thing that I've been able to find is
I think the plus is for and the minus is against.
news report, paper report, online report, whatever you call it. I'll quickly show you. That one. So this one, look. So they are backing the one council bids, the one unitary.
Either voted.
And again, one person hasn't voted. We're still waiting for one vote.
It's 43 for, no abstentions and 9 against. Thank you. That takes us on to motion 2, and I invite Councillor Watkins to propose the motion, although I understand you may wish to do something else.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I've indicated earlier, we'll be withdrawing this motion, probably with a view to resubmitting it at the next appropriate council meeting. But in the meantime, perhaps on this particular issue, we hope for some good news from the Labour Party conference. Thank you.
Thank you for
I think
that.
other people were laughing at all.
So I invite the proposer of the third motion, Councillor Morphew, to propose the motion. Before we start,
Come on, because I need to get moving. How many more hours is this going to be going on for?
That we should have one for this motion, one speaker.
I think this started at 11:30, didn't it?
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Roper.
And I was late to it.
Sorry, Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Chair.
God, Steve, hurry up.
I am a proud, woke, lefty patriot. I like seeing our national flags flying to celebrate what makes me proud to be British. My father fought on the beaches of D-Day to Berlin. My mum built mosquitoes when she was old enough, having been evacuated from the London Blitz. It's a long time since I was a Boy Scout, but as a duty patrol leader, I learnt to fold and raise a Union flag the right way up, ensuring it didn't touch the ground. I was brought up to respect what our national symbols stand for and those who genuinely gave their all. I was proud to be the city council leader in the midst of a financial crisis who found the money to revamp the City War Memorial so that our veterans could raise their banners on ceremonial occasions. The government is following the previous government's policy. The government website says, flags are a very British way of expressing our joy and pride. They are emotive symbols which can boost local and national identities, strengthen community cohesion, and mark civic pride. The government wants to see more flags flown, particularly the Union flag, the flag of the United Kingdom. It is a symbol of national unity and pride. a sentiment with which I wholeheartedly agree, and I'll endorse Councillor Bensley's sentiments about this weekend as well. But what happens when some of our residents can't celebrate those flags as symbols of unity and pride? What if there are some who choose to use what should be a symbol of unity and pride to bully, harass and intimidate, to sow division and provoke bad behaviour? I'm sure I share a love of the quintessential British roast beef dish and Yorkshire pudding with many in the chamber, and apologies to our non-meat eaters. However, if somebody shoved my favourite dish in my face and shouted at me I was being unpatriotic because I was choking on it, then maybe my attitude towards it might quickly change. Predictably, those who challenge loyalty to our nation and flag because they are criticised for sowing division and misusing symbols to intimidate, reinforce those divisions at every opportunity. Many, if not most, of those expressing their views about current matters of genuine concern, small boats and hotels being the touchstones, are ordinary, decent people with little interest in politics. To all of those, I send my respects. On all sides of politics, there are fringes that seek to breed discontent from genuine grievance for the sake of their wider aims, encouraging neighbours to distrust each other by creating false dividing lines and shouting down those resisting being bullied until they retreat for a quiet life can create the vacuum to use to spread more division. I'm heartened and encouraged by the way many of our communities have responded, coming together as a community to say no to bullying, harassment and intimidation is what we do. We are Norfolk, we are proud of our tolerance, inclusiveness and unity. There are calls from that community, not to prevent flags being flown, but to prevent symbols of unity and pride being used to do the opposite to celebrating and giving us pride. Nobody should feel intimidated by the flying of our national flag. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And if circumstances have been created where some are feeling threatened, they have a right not to feel intimidated, so they too can express their pride and celebrate our community, our country and our county. This motion addresses behaviours, not flags. How we encourage behaviour that brings us together, dials down the passion that blurs the issues we know are hard enough to deal with already, and seeks to restore the use of flags and symbols to their proper place, celebration, pride in community, county and country. Flying flags is great. The behaviours of some who use our proud flags and symbols to justify bad behaviour is where the line should be drawn. It's behaviour, not flags, I take issue with. We should all be proud of the stand we take against bad behaviour that divides us, as we are proud of the flags we use to celebrate the things we have in common. Thank you.
Well done, Steve.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Shibley-Sexton, I understand you.
I still think you spent too many millions on that war memorial, turning it around. It was built to face the City Hall for you guys to remember what war was. Not for us, but for you.
By Councillor Mason-Billig.
Millions.
I think how we view the reasons for flag raising is a very subjective one, and we should not be sweeping judgments on people who do that, especially we in this chamber who are public representatives. It's essential that we as a council are seen to be level-headed, fair, reasonable and act within the law. This amendment is intended to temper the language used on this sensitive topic. It's to bring the motion in line with current council policy, and it's to reaffirm our position on choosing unity over division in our county. And that's all I want to say.
Okay.
Thank you. Councillor Morphew, do you wish to accept that?
Yes, Chair, I think the wording we can accept, and certainly if it brings us together, then we'll be very happy to accept it.
Right, thank you. So that amended motion now becomes the substantive motion, and that's what the debate will be on. Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak? I said we would take it from different groups. Does anyone from the Liberal Democrat group wish to speak? We're now 1 minute away from going in from running out of 3 hours and going into the extra time. So this debate will be conducted, the additional part of the debate, through the additional time.
And I'm going to have to
Thank you, Chair. We'll be supporting this motion. I think this council is always strongest when it comes together in unity, and it's done so in the past.
Sorry, Dan Roper.
Motions on.
We're going to have to leave that one there because I need to feed my mother for a start. But yeah, this is the only report so far that has come out, if I can find it, that Norfolk County Council has agreed to submit a proposal for all Norfolk councils to be replaced by a single authority in the biggest local government shake-up for 50 years. And one opponent said this will not be Norfolk's future, but its funeral. No drama there. So we shall see. We shall see how that goes. In the meantime, I'll catch you all later and see you at 6:30 tonight. Business Association meeting. Catch you later. Bye for now.